Did you make a comment? Or
We're all here, we're all ready. Todd, you ready? I'd like to reconvene our regular meeting. Item D8 on the agenda tonight is consider two options regarding the referendum number 2022-01. The first is a resolution 23-1651 authorizing a call of election to be held on May 16th of 2023. Starting over, thank you, Rob. Item D8 is consider options regarding referendum number 2022-01. The first is a resolution 23-1651 authorizing a call of election for the town to be held on May 16th, 2023. And the second option is to consider resolution number 23-1652, repealing resolution number 22-1634, the major amendment of the land use elements of the 2015 general plan. We have a couple citizens who would like to speak to this. Do we have Brett on the line yet? Okay, I would like to say something first if you wanted to get him on the line. Over the past couple of years, we've had some rezoning requests from some land within our town limits. And this brought to light the fact that our general land use planning map was not really in compliance. That's okay. It was not really in compliance with state law. It had some extraterritorial zoning. It had some land within our town limits that had no legal zoning. And we discovered this through our town attorney and our extremely professional community development manager, Jeremiah Lloyd, who brought these things to our attention. So we began the process of correcting these deficiencies. Over the course of several months, there were 9 public meetings. And at the last meeting, we had some citizens come and complain. And that's what's brought this referendum up. I would just like to point out that this is everybody's right under the First Amendment to the Constitution to petition government. And I think Paul Watson said it well in his parting comments to us last month. There's got to be a better way. We need to work together on these kinds of issues a little bit better. There's been some information that's been disseminated around town that's very, very misleading. People were given the indication that there was development imminent in their backyards. And I would just like to reiterate that if a property comes up for a rezone, there is a long process. It has to come before the Planning and Zoning Commission. There has to be plans presented, conceptual plans. It will then, if it passes that scrutiny, it can come to the town council then. So it's not a slam dunk. And so for individuals to go around town and say these are imminent developments in people's backyard is simply irresponsible. I would encourage our citizens to become educated on their own, not to just take the word from somebody that's coming and knocking on their door. Because that's not, the information that you're getting is not factual, it's emotional. And we need to look at what's in our code and what is best for the entire community when we make these decisions. Do we have Brett on the line? Brett, are you there?
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Coate, please go ahead and address. We are on item D8.
Thank you. Good evening, Town Council, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Thank you for letting me call in. I know it's been a long night. I think it's important to get these comments on the record. As the town and public know, we've been here before. There is a small group of individuals that continue to advance a personal agenda using clear falsehoods, fear-mongering, and manipulation of federal documents to attack good public policy. They've done this in front of this committee, on social media, and in the public. In particular, this group has been targeting the Camp Tati parcel. In paragraph 5 of their rationale for a referendum, this group writes, quote, "The Forest Service distinctly stipulates." That right there is a false statement. The Forest Service did not stipulate to any future zoning for Camp Tati parcel, nor did they attach any deed restrictions. Deed restrictions were considered and rejected. This group also likes to cherry pick one sentence from over 170 pages of federal documents to use out of context, while completely ignoring other sections of the final environmental impact study and the record of decision that addresses the varied zoning outcomes of this parcel. The Forest Service merely speculated on potential future uses of the land, distinctly using the non-committal phrase, would likely. Second, the group targeting Camp Toddy has attached the zoning classification to that sentence that does not exist in the original documents, 1 acre housing or R-low. The Forest Service did not stipulate to any zoning classification for the Camp Toddy parcel, but rather on page 62 of the final environmental impact study speculates that any development or rezoning land would likely be consistent with adjacent zoning districts. The Forest Service specifically stated that potential commercial and planned unit zoning for this land was possible consistent with adjacent zoning districts. So what are the surrounding land uses and adjacent zoning? The vast majority of land surrounding this parcel is either commercial, planned unit development, or mixed residential, not R-low. The two largest neighborhoods adjacent to the parcel are planned unit development and a subdivision trailer park, which has a density of 1/10 of 1 acre housing. Therefore, even if this council was bound by the Forest Service language, which it's not, the most appropriate land classification for the Camp Toddy parcel would be commercial and planned unit development. And yet here we are again. A small group has used falsehoods to thwart good policy and harm private property rights. I thank the council for their attention to this detail.
Thank you, Brett. We appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
I would open this up for discussion from the council. Any comments, motions? Councilor Heisler.
I would just like to make a comment on this issue before we make a decision, and I'd just like to express that my wife at work and myself have both fielded questions on this issue that have ranged from a major housing development that's going to go in right behind my house on Forest Service property in the near future. I've talked to a number of people that said if they would have had good, correct information, they would not have signed this petition. And I would put that number somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 people I've spoken to at this point that said they would not have signed this petition had they not been given false information. And I would be a little less politically correct and say that they were blatantly lied to about what was going to happen as a result of this land use map. I have personally seen these comments on Nextdoor and on Facebook, where I've seen the accounts and I've seen these false pieces of information being advertised to the community. Now, I'm all about people making good informed decisions and being well-educated and understanding the facts of an issue and making good decisions on those facts. But I'm not all for people being lied to, because that does cause an emotional response, and then they make rash decisions. And like I said, spoke to a number of people who said they would not have signed this petition. A number of them asked me how they could get their name removed from the petition after we had a discussion about what the land use map actually was. I went through the process when this was going through the numerous meetings that we had. I sat through the planning and zoning meetings. I researched, I sought out the education for myself. I reached out to Community Director Lloyd and had him show me statutes and the different things that we were working to make sure that we were in compliance with. And so I am very confident that we made the right decision based on state statute that we are required to do as a town. And so I just wanted to say that I'm a little disappointed, and that a group is willing to go out and lie to their fellow citizens in order to make a point of their personal privilege.
Thank you. Any other comments? Vice Mayor? Oh, did you have something to say? No. Okay. Vice Mayor?
I move to approve resolution number 23-1651, authorizing a call of election and designating the date of May 16th, 2023 for holding a special election of the town of Pinetop-Lakeside for referendum 2022-01.
I second.
Can I, point of order, does my thing also say that I was
would like to address the council on D8.
It said possible D8. Would you like to address us?
I would appreciate the opportunity, yes.
Okay, come on up.
I had a couple of notes on this. Sorry, I thought I might be recognized because of filling the proper format, I thought. I am concerned that the trust and all, and even what I heard from one of the counselors regarding misinformation. The cover letter that was attached to the referendum petition, I have looked at. I thought that cover letter was very accurate. The small group of people that was referenced several times, I may be considered one of the small group. I did not go door to door and collect signatures. I felt that spoke for itself. There were others that did. It was talked about in some of the meetings prior to deciding that a referendum would be the way to help our community move ahead by getting the voters engaged, encouraging an educational process from the time that the referendum would be successful until, as a community, we could vote on this change. And the community work session meeting that was held October 6th was immediately followed after multitude of people, not just 3, spoke out to the council. And it wasn't like, we'll consider what you've said and come back in 2 weeks and see and take a vote. I feel that there is a dissing of the citizens' concerns that choose to come to meetings, that choose to try to get involved, make a point, and again, not naming people, but I thought there was a honest, sincere effort in the cover sheet that was a part of the referendum being very accurate. And the involvement that some of the individuals had, which yes, I have been involved in this because I felt back when we met with Mayor Irwin and Manager Johnson in December of 2019, we were looking for a more conceptualized plan of how that particular parcel that Mr. Coate came into possession of would be planned to minimize traffic circulation issues. As a property owner out Shoalo Lake Road, I had concerns regarding the safety of that residential area, accessing Highway 260 with new connections and higher density developments and all. And we felt among that issues that would how that land would be used. So now we're 2023. I'll say voters, citizens did choose. I don't know about the quality of information that was exchanged orally, but I do know that an honest attempt at getting facts out was there. And the number of meetings that I went to and spoke out and the lack of citizen involvement, to me, was very disappointing too. But here we are with a chance for the voters prior to the 2025 mandated general plan amendment procedure to go to meetings, that facts can be shared, community involvement could be encouraged and occur, and then we can move ahead. I just feel bad that there has been reported misrepresentation on things. I don't know about that. To me, that's hearsay, but I trust what you're saying to be true. But I do feel that the community work session meeting that occurred right before council meeting was a great thing to happen. I just feel it fell on deaf ears because the reaction that we're at right now supports that we're not getting the kind of interaction, education that I feel we as citizens deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask a question, Mayor?
Yes, go right ahead.
Mr. Ingalls, I just have a curious question. If these are people that I know very well, And if I was to go to you and provide you with the signatures of 30 people that said this information was misrepresented to me, would that change your opinion or your group's opinion of how these signatures were collected?
I can speak for myself. I speak for myself when I'm here. Yes, it would, and I'm wondering what the information was that wasn't correct, because again, that referendum cover sheet, I thought was very factual. Did you read that, and did you have a problem with what was on the sheet? Or did our community
I'll be honest,
development director?
I'll be honest with you, I have seen the cover letter, and I thought that the cover letter was accurate, though I did feel like it was a little, the information was a little twisted, but accurate. I didn't have any issues with the cover letter. However, from my discussions with my neighbors and people that I know, that was not the information being represented by the people collecting the signatures for the initiative.
Okay, and that's beyond my control, and I'm sorry that that has happened, and it might be affecting the decision tonight. But yes, I would love to have this. I would love to have them at a meeting so we could get their opinions on things too. On there, thank you for sharing that. That is meaningful.
Thank you, Rob. We do have a motion, a second on the floor. Manager Johnson, did you have anything that you wanted to say? I think you did. Are you good?
I have a whole lot of stuff I've read. I will, in support of what Councilor Heisler has said, we also received many phone calls here at Town Hall from people that were ready to sell their homes because they had been presented with this petition telling them that an imminent land exchange was going to happen and low-income housing was going to be down at the end of their street, and they were panicking. And so then I called the Forest Service and I asked them, "Do you guys have a land exchange going on?" And they said, "You know what? We've been getting phone calls too. We didn't know what this was about." And so we had 9 meetings. Larry and Rob, you guys were both there. You could have gotten more people out to those meetings. You even had a group of people at one of the meetings and they got up and left. So you can't lay it back on the council to say, you guys didn't do enough to get people out here. You had a group here one night and this room was pretty full. So I've made all sorts of notes on here about the inaccuracies and misleading statements that were put on this rationale statement. You guys took it. Whoever wrote it, you didn't put your name on it. I write something, you've got it in the packet. I put my name on it, and I'll stand by every word that I wrote. But this it's inaccurate. It's so misleading, it's ridiculous. The words, I believe, we believe, that means you don't know what you're talking about, but that's the kind of information you put in here. We believe. You even call into question the 50 acres behind Safeway as if we were trying to get rid of that. That's ridiculous. We couldn't do it even if we wanted to. And the plan is there to have a recreational venue. So we've been through this with the previous referendum. A lot of misinformation was given out to get people to sign those petitions too, just as they have now. And so now the council is making a decision, and we'll stand with that one.
Thank you. Unless there's further council discussion, I would like to call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. That carries unanimously. We will have an election on May 16th. I encourage the citizens to educate themselves. That concludes our business tonight, so I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.